The CBS Evening News made its way out west tonight. It originated here from our studio in the broadcast center in Studio City.
That's right, and we're very pleased to be joined on set now by our anchor, Scott Pelley. Scott, I wish we had warm weather for you today, considering what you've been going through out in the east. But we needed the rain. We're in a drought, as you know, and I understand that you talked exclusively with Governor Brown about that.
If it's above 20, that's warm to me now. So the way it's been in New York lately. We did have a chance to sit with Governor Brown in his office in Oakland, Pat and Paul, yesterday, and we talked about a number of things. But really the first thing on the governor's agenda, the first thing you wanted to talk about was the drought and the impact that the drought is having on the state. And we have a little bit of a clip of our interview with the governor.
Oh, great.
But what can a governor do if it just won't rain?
Well, first of all, a governor can appropriate money with the legislative approval. Secondly, we can sponsor technological innovation. We can help modify our regulations to make it easier to transfer water. And of course, in emergencies, we can send out firefighters or our Conservation Corps members or even people who have been incarcerated start laying pipe.
Start laying pipe. The governor was telling us that if it's not going to rain, if this is going to be a persistent weather pattern, maybe over years, that the state's going to have to start doing things like building pipelines, building aqueduct, changing the infrastructure.
Yeah, the governor also made news, the drought aside. The governor also made news himself this week when he announced on Twitter that he's going to seek re-election for an unprecedented fourth term. Did you get a chance to talk to him about that?
We did. In fact, that day, he and his wife went out on the street together and collected all the signatures themselves that they needed to file the re-election paperwork, and they did it all in a couple of hours, he told me. Then he came up and did the interview. I interviewed him back in 1992 when he was running for the presidential Democratic nomination for president. And so in this interview, I asked him about his campaign here in the state and whether he might want to run for president again. Ooh. What's the difference between Governor Brown 75 and Governor Brown 2014?
Lots of years, lots of decades, lots of experiences. It's certainly being a young governor facing a legislature of people who almost all of them are older and more experienced, as opposed to being the oldest and the most experienced.
When I asked him if he thought he might run a fourth time for the Democratic nomination, he said, you know what, I have enough to do here as governor of California. And I said, was that a no? And he said, you can construe it that way.
Oh, well, he's certainly got more energy than a lot of folks I know. But Scott, you were also here for another quite different interview with the innovative Elon Musk, right?
Absolutely. We're doing a profile, Pat, of Elon Musk for 60 Minutes. It's going to be on the air in March. So we were visiting him up in his Tesla plant where they're building the electric cars. Fascinating stuff. And I interviewed his mother and his brother and his sister today here in Santa Monica and talked to them about where this guy comes from and where these ideas come from. We're really excited about the story. It'll be on 60 Minutes in March.
Do they all drive Teslas?
Absolutely they do. They were all parked in front of the building we were doing the interview.
Well, that's new. We've never heard from his family members.
No, that's okay. We want to thank you for being here with us. We do appreciate it.
Great to be with you, Pat and Paul, as always. Thank you.
It's nice to see
Thank
you.
you, Scott.